Hi, I'm Brad. I'm alcoholic.
Hi, Brad.
Wow. It's good to be here. Um, sobriety date is 11/18/07 this time. And I guess I just start at the beginning, what I know when I got here was I had this hole in me I needed to have filled. And it bothered me my whole life. And it's like, um, I was, born into a large Catholic family, and there's 9 kids, and I was right in the center. It's a good place to be, but not a good place to be. And anyway, we went to church. Back then, church was mostly done in Latin in our church, and um, I didn't understand Latin. I didn't understand church, and I didn't. What I remember of church was I didn't want to go there. It smelled like mothballs, and there were lots of old people, and and they would pass the basket, and mom would give them money, and that's what I remember. And I didn't want to. I never wanted to go, um, but that's what we did. I went to Catholic school till 3rd grade. They told me all the stories, splitting the sea, all that stuff. And I wasn't that smart of a kid. I really wasn't. But um, I just couldn't go with their stories. Adam and Eve to me and I wasn't even a math wizard, but I knew that was mathematically impossible. 2 people to start all these people. Anyway, maybe it wasn't. Who knows? Probably overthought it. I probably just didn't want to do it. But anyway, so that was my first part of not not accepting God in my life. Go to heaven or hell. Um, I don't know what that was about. Why would I even think that? Why wouldn't I just go with the flow? Not a clue. But um, I know by 3rd grade I was getting in trouble. I mean, I always got in trouble in Catholic school. And by end of 3rd grade, um, by the end of 3rd grade, they said you might do better in public school. And so they switched me over to public school into a class that I hated. I didn't like that school either. The teacher was too old, and it just I don't know. I just didn't like it, but I did it. Then, but during that time, I had been. I spent a lot of time in Ballard at my grandmother's house, and this is where the warning signs on alcohol started. And my grandma drank, I think, beer then. She quit, but all my they were Native American, and they all lived together. Not like everybody, but we had my uncle Don and my aunt Franny were there, and and I could see the alcohol, what it was doing to them, and what it did to their, what Franny's husband committed suicide, and my other grandpa on another side, he had a stroke from drinking, and my grandma that was married to, or my grandfather that was married to my grandma was, he died of, I don't know what it was, but I'm pretty sure he was an alcoholic. He was an alcoholic. And so I come from that. That's where I come from. And the things that happened, Uncle Don coming home drunk. And the only part about that I liked was he fell asleep on the couch, and all this change fell out of his pocket. And Dina, my cousin that lived there, we would just rob that, and anyway, and then but there were things that happened there that weren't very good, and Franny took us to this place and left us out on the lanai for an hour, and I knew it had to do with booze. I just kind of knew that. Anyway, there are just these things that there were warnings, me not to drink, whatever, and I didn't heed them, because by the time I was 10 years old, by the time I was 10, one of my cousins got married, and down on there was a yacht club, and I wanted to say this before that, just before we moved out of that neighborhood, the neighbor used to drink a lot, and we'd go get his bottles. He'd have like collection of cases, Rainier, and I remember being down there and I'm checking them, looking at them. I'm like 9 years old, 8 years old, and I see there's some in the bottom, and I start drinking them, and when about the third one, I'm looking at it, and there's like a brown gray worm in there, or some mold or whatever. And so I stopped that. That was done. We were done with that. And anyway, so I didn't get it. I guess I was going to do what I was going to do, no matter what anybody said or what warnings were put in front of me. And by the time that wedding happened, we had already moved. And I remember they let us have a glass of champagne, so all the kids, and I drank one, and then I wanted more, and then I wanted more. I was 10 years old, and they cut us off. I was probably starting to run around in my head. They said, no more for the kids. So I went up to the bar, and I said, God, what can you do? Just sneak me one. And he looks around, and he goes, see those bottles over there? He goes, there's some in the bottom. And I went, oh, I know that trick. And so, I got pretty drunk for a 10-year-old. And I remember coming home. I ate a bag of Cheetos sometime between that and coming home, and I remember getting out of the car. I'll tell you something, Cheetos burns coming out your nose. I was so sick. I went downstairs to my room, and I remember laying down on the bed, and the ceiling's just spinning like this, back and forth. And I swear I prayed to God to make this go away. And so that's where God works in my life. right? It's for me. I need you right now. And of course, that I've heard parroted in meetings since I started going. Um, anyway, so, but I still didn't have, I didn't go out and search booze again. But the next time it happened, the next time it came up, I obviously said yes, and that's what I did. And we'd steal Loganberry wine, and that comes up too. Okay, so sitting in the Scotch room with my friend whose grandma we stole it from, we're sitting there, and he said, if you drink it fast, you'll get drunker. And so, and then that stuff comes up, and so we're having this puke party in the middle of this. But, and it doesn't taste good. Wine is not good. And when you're 11, 12 years old, it's not good. I don't care. Anyway, so, that was, that's just how it all started. That's what I did. And there was a time where I was, the neighbor kid up the street gave me I was 12 years old, 1969. Kid up the street gave me a tiny bit of acid. And, I was tasked by my father to dig this ditch over to this, over to outside of our property so that we can run a conduit and lighting out there. And I remember Saturday morning, I ate that acid and I started on that ditch. And all of a sudden I started getting high. I've never been on acid before. And I said, whoa. And anyway, I ran up the street to get the guy who gave me that stuff. And then he watched me all day. You know what I mean? And that was a trip. I came home. I hadn't eaten all day. Had a kind of a crunchy stomach. I was almost down. And I came walking up to the house and nobody's home. And it was the weirdest thing because everything looked bent. Everything was kind of skewed and stuff. And there was a bike there and the bike didn't look right. And I just kind of looking around, what the heck? I think I'm still high. And what happened was my father had come home and hit the pole. Remember that? Yeah, never mind. I'm not supposed to talk to you. He hit the pole and hit the bike and pushed the wall in our carport. And so, I open up I'm like still trying to figure out why it's all skewed. And I open up the door and I look in and there's a big footprint on the wall. Anyway, that was a trip. And so, that was my dad drinking. Still no warning signs at all with me, none. And no one could have said anything. I love the story my brother tells. And I believe it to be so true that my father couldn't have said a word, even though he was a sober alcoholic, and then he drank, and then sober, and then, he had his troubles. But there was nothing anybody could say to me. I had no real higher power or any support, and what it was me trying to run my own life and try to just feel good. I don't know if I was born that way to not feel like I fit in, not feel anything, but I didn't, and it was a coping mechanism. It was also, designed behind partying. so all through junior high and all through high school, you know, I was keggers, and it was that, and you know, it was I was blackout drinking by 15 at times. Now, my controlled drinking started then because I hated blacking out. And anyway, I did. I hated it with passion. But, you know, I tried to control it, and most of the time I could, a lot of times not. And so, anyway, that was my setup. Huh?
2 minutes.
Oh, wow. Sorry.
You're doing great.
Geez, I was still on the first card. I'll just move on. Anyway, I got a little older. I went to school and I finished school, even as drunk as I was. And I got jobs, lost jobs. Relationships, terrible at relationships. I had no business being in a relationship. Clear till I was 52 years old, believe it or not. Clear till then. And I'll tell you what happened at 52. All right, and it was actually 50 years old when last time I got sober. And I did this 4-step thing, you know, and I was writing this stuff down, and I'd been through some relationships, kids, deaths, stuff like that, and there was a lot of resentments, but I started writing about the third one down, and I just, God, it was always me. It was always me. I'm the one put my foot in there. I'm the one who screwed this up. I'm the one who, you know, you step on someone's toes and they retaliate. You know, I had to just, it was an aha moment that I'll never forget. And, you know, I went to my sponsor, who, I forgot to talk about him. He was on page 2. Anyway, sorry. Anyway, you know, I went through all that stuff. And anyway, I have the same sponsor I had since the 80s. But I remember one time he just turned around and looked at me in a meeting and says, "I wasn't your sponsor when you were using." Okay. It's good enough for me. And but anyway, this guy is a God-driven guy, very God-driven. I love him to death, and he's the one who showed me how to look for God in my life, and you know, that was huge. It was huge. And today, you know, I don't really speak about God in meetings very much, but I'll tell you something. I meditate a lot, and I ask for things that, you know, it used to say, you know, be careful what you pray for, you know, because you might get it, and then you pray for it to go away. You know, I don't pray like that anymore. I don't want anything. I'm so grateful today. I have a wonderful life, a wonderful wife. I can't believe a normie would actually marry me, and but she did, and we're both on the same page all the way. And thanks to the program. I'll just get to the end. Sorry, probably 4 minutes. I wanted to thank some people. You know, I want to thank everybody in AA. I want to thank AA and everybody in it. And I want to thank my brother Greg for being there, and Justin for the meeting every Wednesday night through COVID. we would meet in the parking lot. He made that smooth. He made that whole thing. It was not even, no trouble in my end. And, thank you. And, I guess that's about it. Thank you guys for listening to me.
Thank you.